perhaps we should have a short discussion among the panelists before we open the floor. So maybe how about the following idea? I mean, does everyone in the panel agree with my idea and the idea of the previous speaker too in session before, that what AI is good at is providing assistance to all sorts of tasks? While I think, at least it's my opinion, and I'd like you to say if you agree, whether the ideal of creating an entirely autonomous thinking machine is both unreachable and undesirable. And people in the industry who talk about AGI, most of them very clearly have this goal in sight. They think that what AI is heading for is creating essentially fully autonomous cognitive machines equivalent to, if not better than, us. And I disagree. I think it's first unfeasible. I don't think we have anything like the ideas to reach that goal, and it's undesirable. So with this provocative statement, I would like to invite you to react. Do you want to go first?
Yeah, I think one thing, I think I said this last year, the competition is very unfair. When you look at the speed of treatment of information is speed light, 300 kilometers per second. If I touch my iPhone, I did this last year, so I'm not going to repeat it. I have sensors here. The speed of the information going to my brain is 60 meters per second. The speed in my brain is 100 meters per second. So let's assume you're writing a thesis. You arrive in the National Library. You need to look at 10,000 pages in 24 volumes. It will take you, months.
A lifetime.
A lifetime. AI will look at LLMs and LQMs. We look at all the information. We'll synthesize of it, and with ChatGPT and +2 equivalent, we'll write you exactly if this was you. So my view on that is all the task-oriented things, which are boring, are going to be outsourced. So Emman says this, I don't think job will disappear. I think it will create lots of new jobs. I gave the examples of the doctors. It's a question of evolution also of the technology. And one point also we need to understand is when you give toys to kids, you don't know what they're going to do with this. Remember, the first SMS I made in Japan was an emergency system for people. And the teens who are very shy use this SMS system to communicate to each other. So 14 girls, 14 boys, they try to communicate. And SMS was then sent to Europe by Bouygues, by the way, and SMS became a major communication. So nobody can predict how AI will be used because it's self-developing. And at the end of the day, and I think you mentioned this, Daniel, we make the call. AI will be never more than a super chief of staff that will bring options on things, but at the end, we will decide.
Thank you. Thank you. I agree with you. Sir.
So I do believe, as I mentioned earlier, AI will not just be an assistant to us in making things easier. I really think it will redefine way nations will work together. The capacity and capability they will have, strategic ones, will be defined by that. Nations having certain challenges, national challenges related to the environment, food resources, water resources, will rely on AI to help them manage these challenges and find solutions. Nations that are facing issues with the dry climate, same thing. The trade and logistic systems will be impacted by AI, and more efficiency will come into play. Healthcare systems, biotechnology, will all be affected by that. So I think really, if you look at it from a much bigger picture, it will redefine the geopolitical landscape. There are challenges, but I think the benefits and the opportunities are much bigger than the challenges. I think we need to focus on building partnerships between nations and addressing each country's needs and challenges, because let's be realistic, each nation needs to serve their national interests at the end of the day. And with AI, I think it will be a force that will force nations to work together to serve their national interests. If you look at it also from a responsible behavior point of view, countries will have different definitions initially. How do we define responsible behavior in AI? Why? Because countries interpret things slightly differently. The thresholds are different. And one example, for example, when it comes to defining, let's say, extremism. Some countries have different thresholds for extremism versus others. Why? Because their demography, their system, their societal structure is very different than other nations. In a country that has more than 200 nationalities, living together, working together, different cultures, different background, will have different tolerance level to extremism than a country that has less diverse combination of people. How do I translate that into technology and applications? At the same time, make sure that I work with partnering nations and understanding that difference. And then, again, bringing transparency into it, bringing responsible behavior into it, and putting the safeguards for that responsible behavior. It's a very difficult question to answer.
Right, right. Thank you very much. Yes, it really raises the issue before I ask Lee to react. One talks a lot about AI ethics or maybe AI soft law, and that's usually directed to the people who develop the systems. But there's also a matter of who uses the systems and how. So that's almost all of us in our private lives and in our professional lives. And of course, we are bound to ethics as well. But in order to behave ethically with our AI tools, we need to understand AI better. We collectively, people need to be educated to what AI is, what AI can do, what you should ask from AI, and so as to use it ethically, just as we use ethically as far as we can. At least we have ethical codes for driving cars, for using weapons and all of that. It's the same for AI, and that aspect, that dimension of AI ethics by the user, by the end user, is, I think, underdeveloped. It's one of the challenges that I think we have to meet. Please, Lee.
Yeah, I think building on those comments, it's important to keep in mind people use the term AI, and it doesn't refer to one thing. From a technological standpoint, there are lots of different types of technology that can be considered AI. You've got natural language processing, machine learning. So there's a variety of different technologies, and every day it seems like new technology is developing. And then also kind of building on this conversation, there are lots of different use cases. Some of the more benign use cases are personal assistants that help with scheduling. Obviously, as you start moving it into the criminal justice system or granting loans to people or using it in the medical context, the risks get higher. And I think it's really important to sort of break it down. I call it ethics and compliance by design, both at the policy level as well as at the individual company level, and make really good choices informed by ethics on how do we want to use this, looking at the tools that we have today and the tools that we'll continue to develop in terms of standards, risk management frameworks on if we're going to use this tool, how can we mitigate against the risks? Human oversight, testing, validation are really important ways that we, tools that we can use to mitigate risks. And I think one of the things that we'll need to develop and is in the process of developing is standards. So that I think will also help give people more comfort on using a certain tool for certain purposes should not be as risky. And I think these are all things we're going to see develop over the next couple of years.